Let me welcome all of. Hello. Good morning. Let me welcome all of you in this eighth webinar of the series of 13th webinar being organized jointly by Department of Administrative Reforms and National Center for Good Governance. I am Jaya Dubey, Joint Secretary in Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. I am joined by Mrs. Poonam Singh Ji, Senior Professor in National Center for Good Governance. With me, my senior colleagues in DRPG, Shri Narendra Meena Ji, Sanjeev Srivastava, Parthasarthi Bhaskar are also present in this room. As you might be aware that these webinars are conceptualized on the directions of the Honorable Prime Minister, who envisioned a knowledge sharing platform where best practices and innovations can be exchanged and institutionalized for benefit of everyone. Accordingly, DRPG has been asked to hold webinars with district and other officers over the next 12 months on specific themes awarded under the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration. Today we have shortlisted 2 award-winning initiatives from the innovation category of the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration. These 2 innovations have touched millions of lives and changed the dynamics of service delivery of their respective areas. First is the National Generic Document Registration System of Department of Land Resources, and second is One Nation, One Ration Card of Department of Food and Public Distribution System. The National Generic Document Registration System of Department of Land Resources is a configurable application for Registrar's Office. This offers a one-stop solution and complete user interface for property and document registration. We'll show a small clip on the initiative, followed by a presentation on the project by Shri Sonmoni Bora, Joint Secretary, Department of Land Resources. Can we have a clip, please?
किसी भी देश के लिए ये जरूरी है कि वहाँ व्यापार करना आसान हो, जिससे जनाधार को बड़े पैमाने पर फायदा हो। खास तौर पर दस्तावेजों के पंजीकरण और सरकारी कार्यालयों और एजेंसी से जुड़ी कार्य प्रणालियों को सरल बनाने की दिशा में कार्य करने की जरूरत लगी।
अब से पहले जो समस्या जो हुआ करती थी, प्रॉपर्टी रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए लोगों को चक्कर काटने पड़ते थे। उन्हें अपनी खुद की जमीन बेचने के लिए आप यकीन मानिए कितने उन्हें दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ता था। लेकिन अब जो है बिल्कुल आप जो रजिस्ट्री कराना चाहते हैं, आपको स्लॉट इजीली बुक हो जाते हैं और आप जो है अपनी रजिस्ट्री बिना किसी टेंशन के आप इसको आराम से करा सकते हैं।
एक प्रक्रिया एक देश से प्रेरित होकर के और आम लोगों की जो कठिनाइयाँ होती थी प्रॉपर्टी के रजिस्ट्रेशन में, उसको केंद्र बिंदु रख करके इसका आविष्कार किया था। तो हमारा मुख्य उद्देश्य ये रहा कि आम लोगों का अपनी संपत्तियों के लेन देन के लिए हाथ इस तरह कम हो रजिस्ट्रेशन करने के लिए, उसमें उनको कम से कम कार्यालय में जाना पड़े, सारी प्रक्रियाएं घर पर बैठे हो जाए और जो भी हमारे रजिस्ट्री कार्यालय के अधिकारी निर्णय लें उन्हें एसएमएस के माध्यम से प्राप्त हो जाएं, जिससे कि रजिस्ट्री कार्यालय के अधिकारियों के लिए अकाउंटेबिलिटी जवाबदेही तय की जा सके और आम लोगों के लिए पारदर्शिता के तहत उनके संपत्तियों का लेन देन हो सके।
बहुत ही ईजी सिस्टम है। मेरा बेटा 12th में पढ़ता है, उन्हें एनडीआर साइड में मेल की, वहाँ हमें अपॉइंटमेंट मिल गई, टाइम निश्चित हो गया, जो रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस थी, स्टैम्प ड्यूटी थी, वो एक्यूरेट हमें पता चल गया। वहाँ गए, हमने 10 से 15 मिनट लगे, हमारी वहाँ रजिस्ट्री हो गई। यही हमारी ज़मीन है जिसकी हमने रजिस्ट्री करवाई थी। हम खेती बाड़ी करते हैं और हमारा परिवार बिल्कुल खुशहाल है।
डिजिटल इंडिया का जो ख्वाब था NGDRS ने उसको पूरा किया। हम लोग जिस तरह से काम कर रहे हैं खुद सेटिस्फेक्शन होती है कि हम एक बिल्कुल ट्रांसपेरेंट वे में, ट्रांसपेरेंट मैनर में हम भी अपना योगदान जो है वो नेशन बिल्डिंग में हमारा है।
ये सिस्टम जो चल रहा है ऑनलाइन चल रहा है, इसमें काफ़ी सहूलियत है, अच्छा है, क्विक है और सिक्योर है। ये मुझे लगता है कि बहुत अच्छा तरीका है।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के डिजिटल इंडिया के विजन को ध्यान में रखते हुए वन नेशन वन सॉफ्टवेयर के सिद्धांत के आधार पर इसको हमारे ही साइंटिस्टों ने, हमारे ही राजस्व विभाग के एक्सपर्ट लोगों ने बनाया है और हम ही लोग इसको पूरे देश में इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं। इस पर हमको गर्व है।
नेशनल जेनेरिक डॉक्यूमेंट रजिस्ट्रेशन सिस्टम डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ लैंड रिसोर्सेज ने एक देश एक सॉफ्टवेयर को ध्यान में रखकर प्रॉपर्टी एवं प्रॉपर्टी से जुड़े दूसरे दस्तावेजों के पंजीकरण के लिए जेनेरिक प्लेटफॉर्म स्थापित किया। इसके तहत नागरिकों, सरकारी एजेंसीज और सरकारी कार्यालयों का एकीकरण किया गया। इस कदम से न सिर्फ व्यापार की प्रक्रिया में सुधार हुआ, बल्कि नागरिकों का जीवन भी आसान हुआ।
Now I invite Shri Sonmoni Bora, Joint Secretary, Department of Land Resources, to explain this initiative. He is an IS officer of Chhattisgarh cadre and a recipient of several national awards, including Excellence for Implementation of Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Sir, over to you.
Hello. Am I audible? Okay, thank you very much. A very good morning to all of you. So we'll go through a small presentation on this NGDRS system. Can you just put on? PPT.
कोई लिंक नहीं है, डायरेक्ट डाउनलोड करो। चलिए मीटिंग ज्वाइन करनी है।
Thank you. Yeah, next slide. So, needless to reiterate which already been introduced, that National Generic Document Registration System is an initiative, innovative initiative under Digital India Land Modernization Program of DOLR department. This is one component, one of the components of the program is that registration of sub-register office. Apart from that, once the computerization of sub-register office is done, it has to be linked with the land records as well as the revenue codes. So that is the whole objective of the program. But as we all understand that land management, within land management, the property management is a very crucial feature of our governance system. So let me now give you a legal background regarding registration. So registration of documents and deeds is a concurrent subject. So that means that both the states and union territories as well as the central government can enact a law on the subject. However, there is no state which has enacted separately on registration. So the Registration Act of 1908 is being implemented in the entire country. As I have already mentioned that Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, it is a central sector scheme. From 2016, it has become 100% grant to the states and union territories. And through financial assistance as well as technical assistance, we support the computerization as well as digitization of land records. which includes registration process as well. As on today, if we look at the scenario in the country, so we have more than 5,000 sub-register offices in the country, out of which almost 93% above have been computerized. So with this background, let us understand that in a vast country like India, there is a huge diversity of languages, processes, formula and formats prevailing in different parts of the country. So it was there was a huge need that to bring in all these formats and different practices into one single platform. So DOLR actually in this regard held a series of discussions and deliberations with the states and UTs. If I say that more than 23 rounds of discussions and deliberations actually taken place in this regard to actually find out what is the need in the states and UTs, and how could we customize their needs as well, and what are the processes they are following, because some of the progressive states used to have their own robust system. However, many other states, maybe the small states or where registration was actually done in a very ad hoc system. So those were the issues involved, and that is why so DOLR actually came out to facilitate towards generic and customizable software which was developed in-house with the help of NIC and with the inputs that came from the states and UTs. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Please.
Yeah. Next, please.
Akash ji.
So, as we have already mentioned that this was one of the initiatives under One Nation, One Software, and to cater to the needs of the states and UTs. And this common generic configurable software was developed in-house. Until then, most of the states had their standalone system. To say a kind of example that they used to have their local server, whereas the NGDRS now enables for a cloud service. So that is the beauty of the software, that all the data which is fed into the systems in different states and UTs are all now can be stored in the cloud system. So with this background for greater transparency in the property management system, the NGGWS came about. Today, we have a real-time information on our national portal, which is ngdrs.gov.in. So all the participants, I would request that they can go through our this portal to get any kind of information. And these are all again real-time basis in a sense that from time to time you can put this information for analysis purpose as well. We are happy to inform that this was also part of this year's budget announcement, and also in the post-budget webinar, Honorable PM has emphasized the need to adopt this software across the country. And apart from Prime Minister Award for Excellence in Public Administration, we have also got the Digital India Award for 2020. Next. So this is the workflow of NGGWS system. So I'm not going into detail in the technicality, but then you can see that the interface, in 3 levels it happened. One is the applicant or the citizen, then the SRO office and the tehsil office. Because finally, once the registration is done, finally the mutation takes place. The ownership change takes place at the tehsil office or the local revenue office. So this software has both linkage, the backward linkage as well as provision for forward linkage. So this actually, takes care of from one end to the last minute requirement of the property registration process. This has also have some very important features like security audited system, because since it is a national software, so we utmost take care for the data security as well as security of the system. This is also have enabling features for integration with PAN number, Aadhaar services, even the revenue codes I have already mentioned, also with the financial institutions, which includes banks. And nowadays we are also serving to the request of various agencies like income tax or many other government agencies which need actually property or revenue information for different purposes. So the ecosystem is thus created under full control of respective state, because it is their requirement that these software can be customized to engage or to build on more modules, or within the module, which is the basic modules, within the module also they can have a lot of scope for recreation or upgradation. Next. So in a nutshell, you can see that it is a very citizen-centric process re-engineering, where the citizen is empowered to avail these services like auto calculation of duty or the fees. And we all know that the registration offices used to be a hub of lot of malpractices, a lot of non-transparency. So with this adoption of the system, so these have been curbed to a great extent. So now there is a significant transparency in the system, and these fraudulent practices have been curbed wherever this NGGWS system has been adopted. And there is a minimum interface. We all, I mean, those who have had experiences of visiting for registration purpose would know that there used to be multiple physical visits for getting your documents registered. But now only one physical visit is required. This is also we are trying to do away with, because of the IT Act, which prevents as of now for e-signed document. So that is why the citizen or the beneficiary has to come at least for once for biometric and other formalities. But this one physical visit, because he has to be present before the sub-register. So this is the only minimum requirement as of now. But otherwise, rest of the things, the entire process can be done online. So it is a online process. It saves your time, cost, energy, and ease out the living of a common citizen. Next. So this is to show some of the benefits which are accrued for citizen as well as for the government. You can see that the citizen, for all the services which is involved in the process of registration, so can be done online. So this has really eased out his living. except one physical visit for witness and before the sub-register. The rest of the other services can be done through online. For the government also, this is a win-win situation because it checks on fraudulent Benami transaction. It is cost-effective solution. And there are some studies as well that those who have adopted or switched over to NGDRS system like Punjab or Jammu and Kashmir, you would find that there is a tangible increase in revenue as well. And now it is possible to monitor through our dashboard. And this also enables ease of doing business for the prospectors. Next. So I'll just go through quickly about the, just go back to the modules. Go back. Yes. So we have 11 basic modules. This is not to discount the efforts of states or UTs because some of these states also have equivalent system already in place. But as I have already mentioned, that those systems are mostly standalone. Sometimes they do not have backward and forward linkage, whereas NGDRS takes care of both. You can have backward, for example, your legacy data. So that can be, that can span for more than 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. You can just go back. So those things have to be somehow connected. And also with the revenue records. Likewise, in the forward linkage, need to be linked with today, as per today's demand or requirement, that is the financial institutions. It could be the civil court, it could be tomorrow high court maybe, and all other agencies can be actually linked to the software. So that is the beauty of this software. So I'll just quickly go through the modules. The first module is the configuration management. So configuration management is to say that as per the language requirement of a particular state or UT, so this is considered. Then of course the configuration of the hardware part, web services, software part is taken care of in this module. The next module is the user management. So what are the users? So you will say that, see that in a property registration process, there are multiple users. One user could be the citizen itself. Then it could be the deed writer. It could be the advocate. Then you have a set of officers like the district register. It could be IGR. It could be sub-registers, so on and so forth. So how these are linked in the management system, how their user name and ID are created. So this part is taken care of in this module. And as of now, there is no digital signature, but we are working on this. So maybe in near future, we'll also put in digital signature into the system. Then comes the administration. So administration part is basically how you give a continuous system. For example, suppose the sub-register is on leave or he is on tour or he is on some other duty. So the registration process should not stop for just want of somebody on tour or leave. So this module takes care of this management where the administrative requirement is taken care and it is mapped accordingly. Then also the mapping of location, because property location also extremely important. You may be hearing a lot of sometimes in media also they are reported that somebody through some malpractice or through some sifaris, they got a piece of land registered undervalued. I'm giving you an example. Suppose that was semi-urban or different categories of land, but then it was registered under the category of agriculture, which is or another example could be like irrigated and non-irrigated land. So there used to be a lot of discussion with the SRO to categorize, or maybe with the revenue functionary to certify that this particular piece of land is non-irrigated. So if it is irrigated, then its fee structure, stamp duty will be different. But now with this system, it is there is no longer discretion. So it is already mapped, location-wise mapped. So it will auto-calculate the valuation. So next module is the property valuation. This is extremely important because property valuation is again mapped location-wise, category-wise, and there could be sometimes concurrent jurisdiction as well. In some of the states have gone a little bit ahead. So when the villages are actually mapped with a particular SRO, but states like Maharashtra has now a little gone ahead for certain articles that within the district also one can go anywhere and get it done. So property valuation is something very important, and e-stamping, because we have now do away with the paperwork. So now it is e-stamping. So wherever this NGGWS system is there, so e-stamping is now calculated. So no cash transaction. There used to be earlier this cash transaction or some other mode of transaction, but now it is only the payment gateway and the e-stamping. This public data entry is again extremely important, where we capture a lot of information before the transaction. So it has got six categories. One is the general information, then the property details, then the buyers and sellers details, then the party details, then the witness details, then the valuation and the payment. So all these are captured in public data entry level. So when all these six modules are taken care of, then it is ready for registration. So registration takes place where you need at least one physical visit. And today, ideally, it takes 12 to 15 minutes time for a registration to be done, when all other things have been already uploaded or calculated and payment is made. So in that way, in 1 hour, or you can calculate it in 8 hours, 32 slots can be given in one particular day. But there are instances where you may have more desks and where there is a huge pressure in the SRO. So there more slots can be also given. But these are all predetermined slots. Earlier, there used to go people and used to be crowded. But now this is a prerequisite that you need to have a pre-appointment, the slot-wise. And most of the states give 30 days time. Within 30 days, you can have your slot, not beyond 30 days. Most of the states do not allow more than 30 days time. And you can also reschedule. Suppose you could not attend on a particular date or slot. So you have a provision at least for one rescheduling of the slot. The dashboard I have already mentioned that now it is possible for at the central level as well as the state level, that they all have now dashboard where a lot of information as and when required can be analyzed. And also earlier we all know that how difficult it was to collect the information physically, calling all SRO office or other offices for some specific information. The beauty of this module is that the document search. This is another module that you can, even if you don't do the registration part, but you can always, after creation of your username, password, so you can also check any document. So before buying or before selling, this is one facility that the citizens often used to do. This document search is now possible wherever this legacy data is fed into the system. case monitoring. So this is another component we have kept. So it has just started, meaning that case-to-case basis also we can monitor. And sometimes there is a requirement from, like, for example, civil court. So even that can be monitored through the system. The last module is the stamp duty and fee calculator. So when a buyer have more than one option to buy a particular property, so he can go and calculate here that what is going to be the stamp duty or the fee calculation. Also, we all know that when these things were not online, people used to go to some advocate or deed writer, or maybe someone in the SRO office, and there are instances where they were misguided, they were miscalculated, and they were undervalued also. So suppose somebody was told that X amount of duty will be required, but then later it could be more than that. So all these things are taken care of in these modules. Next. So this is the approach. So I'm not going into detail. This is how actually we contact the state and the UT, and there is a huge process. It's not just 11. Actually, if we break these, so it goes up to 16 levels of interaction, deliberation, and process before actually it is adopted and rolled out, tested, and finally covered in the entire state. So these are more technical and a lot of deliberations, how we do with the states. Next. So it is replicable and it is sustainable. So needless to say that today we created this software with the cost of 4.1 crore. But today, 17 states and UTs have adopted this software so far. And you will see that those who have aggressively adopted this software, their revenue, there is a huge rise. And today, through this software, more than 19,000 crores of revenue has been generated for the states and UTs. Next. Due to paucity of time, so I'll just quickly go through. So rolled out in 17 states, I have already mentioned. You will see that those were highlighted like Punjab, Goa, Jharkhand, Himachal Pradesh, Andaman and Nicobar, Jammu and Kashmir, Tripura, Ladakh. These are the states which have 100% adopted. That means entire state, all SROs in the state or UT have adopted the software. The rest of the states and UTs have adopted partially. That to say that they have phased manner, they have started rolling out of the software. And today, if we look at that, we have more than 5,000 SROs in the country. So this software is now running in 1/5 of the SROs. So we have a huge task, and I can see that a lot of districts have also participated in this webinar today. So I'd request all the district collectors to look into, and all the IGRs who have joined here, to quickly adopt. Yesterday also I had a meeting with some of the states, very progressive states. So we are hopeful that by this financial year end, we'll complete at least the rollout and full implementation maybe by next year. Next. So this is the dashboard snapshot. So I'm not going into detail. You can see that how this revenue has been generated, and more than, I think, around 40 lakhs of documents have been already registered through this system. So one can analyze as per their requirement. I mean, from time to time, in a timeline basis or state-wise, one can always analyze the performance of the system. Next. So way forward, of course, now we are working with DPIIT for integration of NGGWS system with single window system. That means, as of now, this system requires that one has to get registered first, then only one can avail the services of the software. But for ease of doing business and ease of living, this single window system we are going to be part of single window system where only single sign-on will be required. That means that once somebody avails DPIIT single window system, so automatically his information will come to NGGWS system, and there will be no requirement of having another signing in or creating a username or password. We are also working on GIS mapping with mostly with the urban local bodies for their requirement for property and other taxation purpose. I can just tell you that the recent development is this, that in Maharashtra, just e-registration has started. That means faceless registration. So for a particular one article, that is leave and license. So they have now allowed that anyone buying a apartment or flat in a housing society duly approved by RERA or a developer. So there is no need to come to SRO office as well. So automatically once they buy the plot or within a that colony, so this registration will take place. So these are some of the more innovations are coming up. Alpin I have just mentioned because we are also working from the department, that is the unique land parcel identification number. We are going to map geofence all the land parcels in the country. So one the Aadhaar number and another will be the land parcel number. So these two numbers are going to be linked with all kinds of information in days to come. So this is going to revolutionize entire land management as well as property management. So I have already mentioned the backward and forward linkage. Of course, the forward linkage is the going to be the game changer, because all this information, whether it is land records or whether it is the property, about the property, these are going to be linked to it for logical conclusion. That is the e-mutation is now available through this system. Likewise, suppose somebody wants a bank loan, so this system will interact with systems with the financial institutions. So this blockchain, ultimate goal of this entire process is going to be the blockchain system, and we are very hopeful that this NGGWS will play a very key role in property management. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very exhaustive presentation. This is really a milestone towards ease of living. I have a few suggestions, sir. That why don't you make the registration, after registration, the information should be pushed into DigiLocker within a week. And the second part, that mutation, since the registration is now automated, the mutation part can also be integrated with this or can be made automated, so that the entry of information in the local municipal offices can also be made simple. And I have one question also, sir. That you mentioned that data, this integrates with the PAN and Aadhaar and other databases at the back end. So integration means if I give my PAN number or my Aadhaar number, so it authenticates, you talk to their databases or authenticate me with the information?
Yeah, so it's a nice question, but as of now, I'd say that this Aadhaar number is taken only for identification purpose, not for authentication. So we are already working with the authority now that how we can minimize the effort, because still some of the states are asking for biometric and iris somewhere. So these are not necessary if we authenticate through Aadhaar, because Aadhaar has already captured your all 10 fingers as well as the iris. So we're already working on this, that that will definitely ease out. But a whole vision of this program is that resistance should be possible anywhere, anytime. I think that is the mission. So as of now, I have initially mentioned that due to the, since there is no exemption for property as of now by the IT Act. So we're working on this, and maybe tomorrow it will be possible that somebody sitting in Canada or US would be able to buy a piece of land in Tamil Nadu or northeast, part of India, and without visiting the SRO office. So we're working on this, and we're very hopeful. To your first two suggestions, we have already working on that, this DigiLocker thing, and the other one is already implemented actually, wherever now NGDRS is there. So because the module, this forward linkage is already there, so mutation is also taking place, because the moment property is registered, that system should actually inform the revenue office, the local revenue office, that it has been already registered in so and so name. So it should not be the discretion of the tahsildar to again call for the papers and then give a date, for hearing, then again goes through the process. So these are all minimized. I have myself seen like many states like Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. So most of these states have already started doing the mutation. But then, of course, you need basic computerization at the revenue offices as well. Again, DLRMP supports for that as well. So I can say that, safely say that most of these states who have adopted NGDRS today are also actually doing mutation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this presentation. Now we'll invite Joint Secretary Shri S. Jagannath. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am IGR J&K. I want to add a point or two as regards to your observations. In J&K NGDRS, it is integrated with NGDRS is integrated with DigiLocker in respect of immovable property, sale deed or gift deed. Now a citizen can go, he can fetch this document in the DigiLocker. As regards Aadhaar authentication services, we got the approval, necessary approvals from Government of India, MIT, and we got the gazette notification from the Revenue Department. Process of selecting an AUA in consultation with NIC headquarters, New Delhi, is in progress. We are in correspondence with them. And concurrently, we are starting also integration thanks to SDU NIC Pune. They are just helping us to. And it is expected, I think, in 10 days' time, Aadhaar authentication services will be available in J&K registration department.
Great, great. Thanks. Now we'll invite Joint Secretary Shri S. Jagannath. But before we invite him, we will show you a small clip on the this One Nation, One Ration card. This initiative has changed the face of public food distribution system by bringing in much needed portability of ration cards and uprooted the leakage in the public distribution system by eliminating fake beneficiaries. So we'll show a small clip on this initiative.
एक 140 करोड़ लोगों का एक देश, एक पहचान और एक राशन कार्ड। हर राशन कार्ड धारक को देश के किसी भी हिस्से में अनाज मिल जाए, ये सुनिश्चित कर रही है वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड स्कीम। इस स्कीम का सबसे ज्यादा फायदा पहुंचेगा 8 करोड़ प्रवासी मजदूरों को, जो काम की तलाश में दूसरे राज्यों में पलायन करते हैं। ऐसे में वन नेशन वन कार्ड उनके लिए वरदान साबित हो रहा है।
वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड एक ऐसा इनिशिएटिव है जो पूरे देश में जो हमारे एनएफएसए के लाभार्थी हैं, जो 80 करोड़ से भी ज़्यादा हैं, उनको सीमलेस तरीके से पोर्टेबिलिटी की सुविधा उपलब्ध कराती है। इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर कोई एक राज्य से दूसरे राज्य में प्रवासी हो जाता है, तो उसको अपने पुराने रेशन कार्ड और आधार के माध्यम से अपने नए स्टेट में पीडीएस का राशन मिल जाता है, उसी दर और उसी मात्रा में जो एनएफएसए के नियमों के आधार पर निर्धारित है।
जब से ये सरकार की योजना चली है, एक राष्ट्र एक राशन कार्ड, और तब से मुझे बहुत फ़ायदा हो रहा है और बहुत लाभ भी हो रहा है। राशन मुझे यहीं मिल जाता है, गांव नहीं जाना पड़ता है। बस गांव जाते थे तो बहुत दिक्कत होती थी जाने आने में।
पहले हमारी कोशिश थी कि हम एक अच्छा सिस्टम बनाएं, जिससे कि जब लोग उसको इस्तेमाल करने जाएं तो उनका एक्सपीरियंस अच्छा हो और वो उस सिस्टम को यूज करने के लिए दोबारा तत्पर हो। तो अब इसका नतीजा ये निकला है कि हर महीने में 1.5 करोड़ से ऊपर ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रहे हैं, जो पोर्टेबल ट्रांजैक्शंस आप कहेंगे। मतलब वो अपनी जगह के अलावा किसी दूसरी जगह से राशन ड्रॉ कर रहे हैं।
मुझे यूपी में राशन एक ही दुकान से लेना पड़ता था, दूसरे दुकान से मिलने का कोई वो नहीं था। अब मैं जब से बाहर आया, दूसरे प्रांत में आया, मैं सोचा कैसे क्या होगा, राशन मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, कैसे भी क्या होगा, गुजारा बसारा कैसे मैं करूँगा। आज ये सरकार द्वारा जो हुआ है सब, उस हिसाब से हमें यहाँ भी राशन मिलने लगा।
तो इस तरह से हमारा एक स्ट्रक्चर तैयार हो गया कि पोर्टेबिलिटी हम देने के लिए समर्थ। उसके बाद जनवरी तक हमारी 12 स्टेट इसमें इंटीग्रेट कर दी। धीरे धीरे अभी हम बढ़ते बढ़ते 28 स्टेटों को ऐड कर दिया है, जिसके अंदर लगभग 70 करोड़ बेनिफिशियरी अपना बेनिफिट इस व्यवस्था से अपना लाभ ले सकते हैं 28 राज्यों के अंतर्गत।
मैं पलवल में रहता था, अब मैं बड़कल मान के रह रहा हूँ। कुछ परिवार मेरा पलवल में रहता है। पहले हमारा एक ही कार्ड था, उसमें दिक्कत होती थी। मैं यहाँ ले लेता था, वहाँ नहीं मिलता था उनको। अब मैं यहाँ भी ले लेता हूँ, वहाँ भी मिल जाता परिवार को। पहले मजबूरी हो जाती थी एक दुकान से लेने की, कभी वो कहता था राशन नहीं है, कभी दे देता, कभी नहीं देता, मना कर देता है। और अब तो कहीं से राशन ले सकते हैं।
इसमें नया राशन कार्ड बनाने की बिल्कुल ज़रूरत नहीं है। अपने पुराने राशन कार्ड के नंबर के माध्यम से वो किसी भी ऑटोमेटेड राशन शॉप में जाकर अपना नंबर और आधार नंबर देने से ट्रांजैक्शन पूरा कर सकते हैं।
Thank you. Now I'll request Shri S. Jagannathji, Joint Secretary from Department of Food and Public Distribution, to present on this initiative.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Ms. Dobe, for inviting me for this presentation. At the outset, I would like to say that I've been involved in implementing this One Nation, One Ration card right from the beginning in August 2019. So as we go on in the presentation, I would like you to present some interesting facts and future prospects way going forward in the presentation about the One Nation, One Ration card scheme. Shall we start the presentation, please? Screen on. Now, One Nation, One Ration card, perhaps I can say confidently that this is the first ever broad-based, nationally impactful scheme, which was conceived as a one nation coverage kind of a scheme. So it's basically technology driven, and it touches the most important public scheme, I would say, apart from health, where we directly distribute food grains under the public distribution system to around 80 crore beneficiaries covered under the National Food Security Act across the country. So this really impacts the lives of several people, as we will see that as we go forward in this presentation. Next, please. This is the scale of PD's operations. You must all be aware of what PDS is. I don't have to repeat that. And this is just to capture the sense of the magnitude and the scale of our country's PDS system. We have nearly 20 crore ration cards, 8 crore beneficiaries, and 530,000 ration shops spread across 36 states and UTs. And then we do something like nearly 46 lakh metric tons of food grains allocation per month, and then which translates into something like 60 million tons or 600 lakh tons of food grains per year. And we spend something like, you must be aware that food subsidy is quite a major subsidy that is given by the government, which is nearly of the order of 3 lakh crores of rupees. So this is the scale and expanse of the National Food Security Act, which is being now enabled with portability. Next. Now, what made us do this? How did we do this? Like, for instance, the background work for this started, technology reform started in the year 2014, and we started out by digitizing the entire ration cards. Then we have seeded nearly 99% of the ration cards with Aadhaar numbers, and then online allocation system has been put in place in 34 states and UTs, and then supply chain management is almost over, barring 2 states in the Northeast. And we have also put in grievance redressal through technology portals by opening web-based transparency portals and a 4-tier grievance redressal mechanism across the country in all the states. And recently, with the joining of Assam, we have also completely automated the ration shops in the country by providing and installing functional electronic point of sale machines. So this, in short, is what we call as the end-to-end computerization of our PDS operations under the National Food Security Act. Now, what do the reforms mean actually? What do the reforms and modernization of PDS operations through technology-based interventions? We should remember that technology-based ICT interventions in the PDS are also mandated under the Section 12 of the National Food Security Act. And if you remember the public distribution system which was being done manually and with little transparency before, you will now see what kind of interventions, what have they delivered, what were the challenges that we addressed, and what were the outcomes that we were targeting, on what were the achievements. Now, digitization has enabled us finally to not only digitize, but also correct and transparent beneficiary identification in the public domain. Then Aadhaar seeding, 99% over, and it enables us to ensure checks and balances on duplicate and issuance of ineligible ration cards. Now, duplicate ration cards are routinely identified, and we have a system process through which the NIC identifies and tells the state, and they do deduplication and then they delete them. Bogus ration cards and duplicate ration cards. Then EPOS devices. EPOS devices have become a sine qua non of convenience and transparency and efficiency in the distribution of food grains. So automation through EPOS has brought about transparency in the distribution of food grains. Aadhaar authentication, that is Aadhaar authentication again is the touchstone of rightful targeting. That is 92% of all the Aadhaar based food grain distribution in the country today, which is done through the automated mode in EPOS machines, is authenticated. So this ensures ensured delivery to rightfully eligible beneficiaries under the NFSA. And then other things like online supply chain management and allocation has ensured that we are able to plug the leakages through continuous online monitoring of stocks at each step of the supply chain management. So these are the broad steps that we have taken to completely in a comprehensive manner ensure transparency, rightful targeting, and efficiency and productivity in our PDS. Next. Now, on the left, you will see that we had done the end-to-end computerization of TPDS operations, which I had explained in detail in the prior slides. On the right, you will find the One Nation, One Ration card. How did we do this? Because of the infrastructure that we created earlier, we managed to create a central repository, integration of the central system with the state systems, removal of duplicate ration cards by deduplication, and then upgradation of the EPOS software to enable the portability transactions at the fair price shops. And then we have also rolled out a data analytics suite, which I'll explain later. And then we have an IMPDS dashboard. IMPDS is a technical name for One Nation, One Ration card, where at any given point of time, you can see the number of interstate portable transactions or intrastate portable transactions that are happening in the country. And finally, to make it even simpler for the citizens availing the food grains under the PDS, we have rolled out the Mera Ration mobile app. Next. So this is a very simple flow chart, the process of the one nation, one ration card portability. Any beneficiary who migrates from one place to another, maybe within a state or across the state, he goes to the destination state and then he shows his ration card or Aadhaar card. And then at the point of sale machine, these details are entered and the details are fetched from the central server, which is the central repository. And on Aadhaar authentication through biometric means the beneficiary gets his entitled food grains. Now the beauty of the system is that they are not only the migrant beneficiary but also the family home can draw the part ration. So this is really a choice that the family can make. If somebody migrates from say Bihar to Bombay, he can say, okay, I'll take 5 kilograms of food grains. The remaining whatever, depending on the numbers, say 20, 25 kg of food grains, which the remaining members can get, they can take it back home. So this is a very dual kind of a facility that has really enabled convenience and access to subsidized food grains across the country. Next. Next, please. So this I explained just now. In the previous slide, I was explaining how the family members back home can get the food grains, and the delivery in terms of scale of food grains as well as the prices charged, they are uniform across the country because these are mandated under the national food security rules. So we deliver wheat at 2 rupees per kg and rice at 3 per kg all across the country. Next. Now you can see the history of how it has been rolled out. We started rolling out one nation, one ration card in August 2019 in 4 states. And progressively we have rolled it out in the entire country. The last state being Assam, which rolled it out in June 2022. And you can see that 80 crore beneficiaries have now been empowered to utilize portability as and when they migrate and then choose to take the ration in some other shop, maybe in the same district or in the same state or across the country wherever they migrate. So this is the in a nutshell how we have rolled out the one nation, one ration card. It is noteworthy here that at the time when the COVID struck in 2020 April, we had covered something like 12 states. And since then, till the end of the pandemic, that is till April, we had rolled it out in more than 20 states, despite being faced with lockdowns and all sorts of inconveniences. So this is one of the defining reforms that we have rolled out in the most testing of times. Next. Now, you may ask, what are the portability transactions under the one nation, one ration card? At a macro level, you will find that since inception of this facility, more than 91 crore portability transactions have taken place. The average monthly portability transactions is about 3.5 crore. We have delivered nearly 174 lakh metric tons of food grains under portability since beginning. And in the process, it is quite significant to note that nearly 52,000 crore of food subsidy has been delivered through portability. This would not have been possible had portability not been there in the country today. So this is very significant. And this bar chart shows the trend. We have portability intrastate and interstate also. So intrastate portability is more because people tend to go from one place to another within the state. Interstate portability is in the region of around 4.5 lakh transactions. We would certainly like to see 1 million transactions per month going forward. I will explain how we can do that because I find that a number of officials from different parts of the country, different districts have joined us today. So I'll explain how we can probably broad base the utilization of portability. Next. This is the level at which the portability operates in inter and interstate districts. So it's quite significant that at every level there is possibility of interaction to increase the number of transactions. Next. This is a table. I will not go into details. It gives figures. Bihar is the #1 state in terms of intrastate portability transactions. In terms of interstate portability transactions, Delhi, which attracts perhaps the maximum number of migrants, is showing the maximum number of interstate portability transactions also. So I hope this presentation would be shared with all. so that you can go through it at leisure. Next. Now this is the Mera Ration application, which I was talking about earlier. And this is an app that is available on the smartphone. We have rolled it out in 13 languages, and we have made it very user-friendly as well. It has got 2 million downloads so far. And it is possible to locate the nearest ration shop through this app, through the GPS. And we are also in the process of expanding the scope of this particular app by adding more user-friendly features going forward. Next. After rolling out the One Nation, One Ration card plan, what we have taken a number of initiatives to reach out to the public. We have done, a toll-free number for them to reach out and then express their difficulties, if any. And then other efforts have also been done through radio, railway stations, then bus wraps, outdoor publicity through hoardings, posters, banners, and extensive use of social media. We have distributed creatives to all states in different languages so that the message of portability and accessibility of food security on the move can be achieved to the fullest extent. Next. Now, this is what is to rolling out and achieving this major reform. Scheme administration, we give financial assistance to states for project monitoring units and other facilities, and guidelines have been issued for the One Nation, One Ration card, how to do deduplication, how to do verification to ensure that your data, ration card data, which is now digitized, remains clean on a monthly basis, and then weekly monitoring of what's happening. If there are any technical glitches, then our technical partner NIC is immediately swung into action to sort out certain problems. And the partnership to strengthen implementation comes through by involving the people and other stakeholders. So we have involved other ministries also, Labour, INB, Prasar Bharati, MyGov, World Food Program, Development Partners, Microsafe, PIB, etc. So all these, a combination of all these efforts in different domains has gone into sustaining and then taking this particular reform to the next level. Next. Now, these are some of the screenshots of how we have engaged. Like, for instance, we trained more than 1.5 lakh ration shop owners on the significance of the scheme in different states so that they can reach out and encourage people to come and take ration in their shops on portability, especially the migrants. We have also engaged with district officials, district supply officers as well. Next. Now, what is the way forward? Next. Now, One Nation, One Ration card at the ground level is portability of picking up your rations at a different location. But then at the back end, there are lots of things we are doing which is quite groundbreaking in a sense. If you can see this picture, now we are engaging with other departments like housing, labor, agriculture, NHA, Panchayati Raj, and rural development. So what we have managed to do during the process of rollout of One Nation, One Ration card is we have created a huge repository of 80 crore data. Now we are in the process of engaging with different ministries according to their requirements so that there is a synergistic relationship between the food department and the other departments. There could be some meeting points to synchronize the outcomes of two departments in a very fruitful manner. So e-Shram in the case of labor and employment, PM Kisan portal in the case of direct subsidy to the MSP to farmers, then PM Swanidhi for street vendors, then we have National Health Authority. We have shared data with them for the faster rollout of the Ayushman Bharat scheme. They found it very useful because they didn't have to create any data from scratch. So all they had to do was build on it and create their own data architecture by using our basic data. And we are also mapping FPSs now by using LGD codes because there is a need to reach out to people at the panchayat level. So since ration shops are not mapped at the panchayat level, some kind of a synergy can be achieved by mapping the LGD codes of the FP fair price shops, that is the ration shops, and the panchayats. So all these things are leading to mutual collaboration and doubling up of efforts to attain the maximum out of data-driven approach to governance. Because today, if you take implementation, policy making, everything is data-driven. We have the technology for that. So all departments put together as one government can converge and then come together and partake of these crucial and critical data that relates to our people who are utilizing some of the most basic services. Now here, in fact, I would like to stress that at the state level also, at the district level also, we need a lot of outreach efforts, not only just to improve the availing of the services under portability of PDS, but also across departments like we do at the center. The states can also initiate inter-district cooperation, interdepartmental cooperation, and one department from one state can reach out to another district. Like for example, we heard a very good example of a pilot in Nandurbar district of Maharashtra. So basically what this has now done is there is a portability of things that is shaping up. We should increase the portability of things. So there is a family which migrates from Nandurbar district to some other state. So that family has to avail not just PDS but also benefits under the ICDS, maybe Matru Vandana scheme or whatever. So that district can map the families migrating through maybe the eShram portal or our repository. So in this connection, what you can do is we have already given data analytics suits to the state governments, which can be used to see certain patterns, and then you can do interventions accordingly. Next. So this is what I was trying to explain. I've already explained that at length. So multimodal efforts are required to use this as a platform for capacity building and widen the scope of proactive governance. And then we can also use simple aids like SMS to reach out to the people, identify the pockets, areas, and the districts where migration is prevalent. So these details are granular details which can be obtained through data analytics suite which we have put through. The states are having the facility. So depending on your local requirements, you can do some analytics and try to find answers to some of the questions that you might be wanting to ask, but answers might be visible in these data. So apart from just PDS operations, One Nation, One Ration card has proved to be a boom for data-driven governance as well. Next. Next, please. So these are some of the testimonials. Districts and states can reach out to know from beneficiaries what they want and then plan their schemes and interventions accordingly by using data. So that would be all. Thank you so much for listening in.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening presentation. But what are mammoth efforts for process reengineering and digitization of entire supply chain of this 19.5 crore ration card holders. It's perhaps one of the biggest reforms in recent past, I must say. And what you have mentioned, that collaboration with other databases of government, I think now we are moving towards whole of government approach where one department will benefit with the experience and the data of other department. So thank you, sir. Now, as I mentioned, this is the 8th webinar. We have already shared 14 award-winning initiatives with you in past. I trust that these sessions have helped us to exchange our experiences and insights and will promote more explorations across the districts and the departments. Now I will request Dr. Poonam Singh ji, Senior Professor in National Center for Good Governance, for a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. First of all, good afternoon to all. It was a very, very wonderful presentation made from both speakers, and we are trying to, I think, to reach all the best works done by the officials and the initiatives taken by the Honorable Prime Minister. So I'm delighted to propose a vote of thanks to you all for this great event. So first of all, we are very, very thankful and grateful to the speakers. So first speaker, Sri Sonmani Bora, Joint Secretary, Department of Land Resource, Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India. We are very, very thankful to you. Especially you have given the emphasis and given more focus on the legal framework, NGDRS, the National Generic Document Registration System. I think the especially real-time information, national portal, basic modules to facilitate the schemes to the citizens, significant transparency in the systems, especially the integration of the NGDRS system with single window system of DPIIT. Thank you so much, sir. You made a very, very good presentation, and it would be, I think, basically the measure, this webinar series aims to highlight the best practices and award-winning achievements to create a precedence for others to replicate. So this would be very, very beneficial for the other officers also. And the second speakers, Sri S. Jagannathan, Joint Secretary, Department of Food and Public Distribution, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. It was such a significant presentation and a wonderful presentation because it's a very hard-touching, I think, the system which has been made by the system. So especially the PDS system, because you were involved since the inception of this this scheme, so you have given the I think Mera Ration, Mera application, and it shows the, I think, the citizens, I think, the accountability and their, I think, the responsibility also, and also app available in 13 languages you have mentioned your I think the presentations, and facilities available for the migrants also you have mentioned, and the efforts so far for public reach, and finally the continuous institutional strengthening for the ONORC. So thank you so much. The both of these speakers made very wonderful presentation for the citizen, which we are giving focus on this, I think, the time, the citizen-centric governance and improving the service delivery. Thank you so much. So I would like to thank the additional chief secretaries, principal secretaries, secretaries, special secretaries of Government of India, especially information technology, to all state and UTs, the additional chief secretaries, all officers from administrative reforms of all state and UTs, the all officers of especially special secretaries to food distribution of all state and UTs, the special secretaries of the revenue and land records management of all state and UTs, commissioners of food and supplies, senior functionaries of revenue and land records management, district collectors of all state and UTs, trainees from Indian Institute of Public Administration, LBSNA, Institute of Secretariat Training and Management, and Administrative Training Institute of State and UTs, officials from Department of Administrative Reforms, and we would like to thank, and we are very, very grateful and thankful to our Secretary, Sri V. Srinivas, I think the DRPG, Government of India, because we are successful, I think, because of him, and it was his great initiatives which has been taken to, I think, the forward the message from the Honorable Prime Minister. And we are very, very thankful all the officers from DRPG, especially Madam Jaya Dubey, who is chairing this session today. I'm also very thankful to all the audience who are listening very patiently today. I am very, very thankful to my all NCGG colleagues and the staff. And finally, we are very thankful to the person who are doing very well behind the curtain also. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.